Well, as Americans gather for a third COVID-era Thanksgiving, two other viruses of concern are also spreading, flu and RSV. The flu is spreading fast and early this year. The CDC is reporting that hospitalizations from the virus are the highest they've been in November since 2009-2010 flu season. And RSV is putting record numbers of children in hospitals. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jon LaPook joins us now. Dr. Jon LaPook, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Good to see you.
Thanksgiving, Vlad.
So, how can Americans this year celebrate their Thanksgiving with family and friends safely? What's the advice?
Well, we're already here, so hopefully they've already gotten vaccinated against COVID, against flu. There is no vaccine yet for RSV. And they've been as careful as they can in the last 1 or 2 weeks. I think, to me, it makes sense that during travel, especially if you're around people, a lot of crowded situations, I know everybody is fed up with masks, but say you're boarding a plane or you're getting off the plane, pop on the mask. It's not so hard to do. And if you want to take it off later, that's fine. Now we get to today. So people wake up. If you wake up and you are not feeling well, please stay home. All right, the gift that you want to give on Thanksgiving is not a virus or infection. And so that's hard to do. I know it's a big plan, but that's what you should do. Now, for everybody else, now you get into risk tolerance, risk benefit, and people may want to test before they get together. And you do it as soon before you walk through the door as possible. Now, my father-in-law is 100 years old. So when we would get together with him and his wife, we would test right before to make sure. Other people may feel, I just don't want to do that. Now you walk into the room and it's crowded. Here is where the big lesson, what is the big lesson? We've talked about it so many times about COVID and how it spread. It spread through the air. So this virus and other respiratory viruses, RSV, flu, they have the potential to float through the air in aerosols and gradually accumulate, build up over time, especially if there's bad ventilation or if there's poor ventilation. So what can you do once you're in that situation? Crack a window, open the door. Outside safer than inside. If you've got some kind of the air filtrate, air purifier, then use that. And then the last thing I would say is, if throughout all that, you're somebody in that room and you're just feeling uncomfortable because you're vulnerable, okay? Don't be afraid. Don't be shamed about putting on a mask. I know there's a lot of peer pressure.
No shame, no shame.
Believe it.
A lot of our attention's been focused on COVID, but the flu, as we're hearing, is coming back with a roar. How do we get folks to get vaccinated, and what can they do to sort of prep on that game?
Yeah, well, it's come back. We've had a couple of seasons where it's been relatively low, and now maybe people aren't as immunized against it every year. That's sort of like a booster when the tens of millions of people get infected with flu. Now they come back, there's a big spike of it, and I think the flu vaccine has been shown to decrease infection and also decrease the risk if you do get the flu, even though you were vaccinated, that you're going to be hospitalized.
Why is it so high?
I think it's high because we've had a couple of years where it's been time out, So we get this annual, and it's amazing how many people get infected with the flu, millions every year, and even people who don't realize it. So they're getting like the equivalent of a booster. So their immunity is built up year after year. Now it's been a couple of years. Everybody's been careful. Now it's cold and flu season. They're indoors. They're not being as careful. They're taking off the mask and they get infected.
Mask up, ventilate, and keep your distance.
There you go.
Kind of reminder. Dr. LaPook, always great to see you here.
Great to see you.
Happy Thanksgiving.